All right, hello. Welcome to the live stream. Today we're going to play a previously recorded call session from, I believe, 2019 that I recorded. I believe in this session, I'm going to set this up. I spent about 15 minutes making outbound calls to off-market properties. And so during this live stream, I'm going to play the session. I'm going to bring it on stage here in a minute, and then we're going to listen to my calls, listen to both sides, and at times I'll stop it and break it down. So it's mostly going to be looking back at a previous call session and showing and doing a full breakdown. So if you're in a position where you're spending time generating leads, whether uh, it's in real estate or in other fields, and you're on the phone making calls, whether you're a inside sales associate, whether you're a listing agent, whether you're a virtual assistant, uh, these are tips that you can take to the phone right away. And if you want to learn more about the different training and courses I've put together, check out the link. I'm going to be launching a few courses on the school platform, SKOOL, that I'm working on right now. That's going to have a full library of previously recorded calls, scripts, things like that, at a very budget conscious entry to get into uh, essentially years of processes and systems and uh, strategies that I've used to be able to generate new leads. And so in this session, I'm going to play the call, and then we're basically going to break it down live. Let's go ahead and do that now. Here's the session, and I'm play this here. That's that's me. At this time, I was in my bedroom making calls. This was 2019. See if we got some action here. So I'm using RedX, the dialer, REDX. It's a subscription-based.
Call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system. 40726784490 is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may. attempting to call has not activated their voice. Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system. 443850.
It's kind of one of those things when you're making calls, you just have to continue to dial. If you're using a dialer, staying focused and understanding that somebody will pick up the phone and being ready.
Boat Shell Drive. It's Jeremy with the John Bay Group.
Yes?
I was calling you about 12109 Boat Shell Drive.
Yes.
Looks like you guys took it off the market 2 days ago.
No, we didn't. You're a realtor, right?
I work for one.
Yeah, I'm not looking to list with anybody, so thank you very much.
What if we had a buyer?
No, I'm not going to list.
So, regardless of what she's saying here, you notice that each piece of conversation that I had, the pause to allow her to process the cold call. Let me bring it back.
Edith?
Yes?
It's Jeremy with the John Bay Group.
Yes?
So a lot of times in this first part of the call, calls can be lost because of either you over talking them or them over talking you. So I was being very careful to let her hear me before I spoke again, or let her speak before I spoke over her. That way we can at least continue it after that. Because a lot of calls, really in the first 5 to 15 seconds, is when they're won or lost.
I was calling you about 12109 Boat Shell Drive.
12109 Boat Shell Drive, and then just pause. She says yes. So you notice how now she's like, okay, he's calling about the property. It processes, right? So a lot of people, and I know some of you that I've worked with in the past, you just kind of want to get your script out there, but it's not about that. It's about internalizing what you're going to say by a lot of repetitions. And then when you're having a conversation, knowing your script, knowing your outline, and that way you don't have to overtalk somebody or you can let them speak and you can let them respond and you can pivot with where you're going to go with your call. Listen to what she said here.
Looks like you guys took it off the market 2 days ago.
No, we didn't. You're a realtor, right?
So I assumed that she took it off the market. I didn't. That's just what the paper showed because it was probably a canceled listing. And she said, "No, you're a realtor, right?" So she probably had it listed, and she's assuming now that we're calling to get it relisted, and so she's going to try to backpedal out of the call.
I work for one.
Yeah, I'm not looking to list with anybody, so thank you very much.
She said, "I'm not looking to list with anybody. Thank you very much."
What if we had a buyer?
I said, "What if we had a buyer for you?"
No, I'm not going to list.
Wasn't asking about listing. What if we had a buyer? Would you still take offers?
Well, yes, but I give 3% if somebody brings a buyer. Not.
So now she shifted her conversation. She was going to get off the phone. And since we asked about having a buyer, she said yes, we would pay a 3% commission, but she doesn't want to list it.
Right. I know a lot of people were calling you to list, but I didn't even bring that up in this conversation.
And again, regardless of what I'm saying here, I'm trying to let her understand that we're not trying to get you to list it. At that time, the realtor that I was working with at that time, she worked with a lot of buyers, and so if she had a buyer for this property.
Okay, well, that's because everybody's been calling me the last couple of days, and it's getting kind of annoying.
And if you guys are out there and you do work with a lot of buyers and you're calling off market properties and you want to take this approach, just know that, they're expecting you as a realtor to call and try to get them to list again. But if you work with a lot of buyers or if you're a buyer yourself, then it's a different conversation you can have.
Oh, I totally get it. Well, I wasn't calling about that though.
The pause is a very key thing here because I'm just letting her process and eventually she's going to respond.
So if you want to talk to John, I can set up a call and for him to look at the property and
And knowing a little bit of information about the property and the lead before you call is important because me bringing up her partner or husband's name and then bringing that into the call and knowing about the previous transaction, it's important because now I'm not just a person calling from a script. I'm having a conversation with her.
we may be able to help you get it sold by bringing you a buyer.
If you have somebody that wants to come and look, you can bring them to look.
So it went from, if you're a realtor and you're trying to get us to list it, we're not interested, to now, if you have a buyer, you're open to coming by if you have a buyer and looking at the property.
Be a good time.
Do you have an actual buyer, or are you just coming to think we're going to sign some papers?
Please don't mistake us for the 20 other guys calling you. That's not how we do business.
Now, this is a bold move here, but it worked. She said, if you're going to come by and you have a buyer and you're looking to look at it for the property for the buyer, fine, but don't try to get us to come over and sign a listing agreement. And so I said,
It wouldn't make sense to backdoor you with a contract to list your property. Wow.
let's rewind that one.
If you have somebody that wants to come and look, you can bring them to look.
When would be a good time?
Do you have an actual buyer, or are you just coming to think we're going to sign some papers?
Please don't mistake us for the 20 other guys calling you. That's not how we do business. And it wouldn't make sense to backdoor you with a contract to list your property. Why would we?
I said, please don't mistake us for the 20 other realtors calling you previous. It wouldn't make sense for us to backdoor you with a listing contract.
We waste our name and our reputation like that.
Well, you just gave me your name. I don't even know who you work for.
So again, a few moments ago, she was ready to get off the phone because she thought we were trying to get her to list it. Now, since she knows that we work with buyers, we're in the process of setting up an appointment to come by and look at the property.
Florida Luxury, the John Bay Group.
Never heard of it.
That's fine. Regardless, the Florida Luxury Group is a very large brokerage. John has his own group called the John Bay Group, and I work for him.
And so the tone, the calm, ever since the beginning of the call, every single interaction, I'm letting her speak. I'm speaking. I'm keeping the same tone because I'm knowing that even if she's getting off the phone, that I'm going to go to the next call and continue to make calls, and I'm going to continue to go through the no's and get to the yeses. But in this opportunity, she still needs to sell. She just doesn't want to list it. And so we're working through the weeds. She's dealt with some bad characters in the past, and that's just how it is. In your local market, it's just you're one of many, whether you're a realtor, whether you're an investor, whether you're somebody who just makes calls. If you're making these types of lead generation calls, you have to expect to get some pushback. But if you're calling somebody who had a property that was listed, they probably still want to sell. And if you can help them, then just continue to make your calls because there's people out there that still want to get the property sold. It doesn't mean that they're going to give the property away, but if you truly have a buyer that is going to perform, then this can be a value to you.
I was calling to set up a time for him to look at the property, and then from there talk to our buyers that we have, and then from there help you get it sold. And not once during the conversation was listing, unless you brought it up, mentioned.
Well, that sounds
And again, I kind of threw it back at her. I was like, listen, I understand you don't want to list. We weren't calling about that. I'm calling to come by because we have some buyers that might be interested, but this is just part of the process. And again, the only time that the listing came up is when you brought it up. And so she's like, okay, I think at this point now she's ready to set up a time for us to come by.
well, still means you want somebody to come out and talk with me. If they want to look at the house to view it so they can show somebody, that's fine.
We don't talk to our buyers about properties until we see it in person. That's the policy of the brokerage. It's pretty standard.
That's fine. If you want to come and view it for them and then bring somebody, that's fine.
When will be a good time, tomorrow or Saturday, to set that up?
Anytime tomorrow after 10.
Give me 1 second. Let me check John's calendar. Big plans for the 4th today?
No.
And it was the 4th of July. Some of you guys look at holidays as a time to not make calls. It's worth making some calls on holidays, at least for an hour or two.
I thought I was invited over for the barbecue.
No barbecue, no nothing.
I try to bring in some lightness to the situation, and she wasn't having it.
So if I set it up for 11 a.m., that'd be okay?
That'll be fine.
I'll talk to John, tell him everything you told me.
So again, looking back at where we were with this call 4 minutes ago, she was about to hang up because she thought we were coming for a listing. Now, fast forward a few minutes, we're in schedule mode, putting it on calendar, getting ready to confirm.
And then, is it best to send you his information by text or email?
You can text it that he's coming. It's fine.
Yeah, that way you have his phone number as well. Okay, this number receives text?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'll have him come by tomorrow at 11. He'll reach out before to confirm that still works, and we'll go from there.
Okay.
Happy 4th of July.
And you too.
All right, so if you guys are here live on the Facebook stream or on the YouTube stream, this is something that I'm going to continue to do regularly. I have a library of previous call sessions, mostly video and calls, that I'm going to continue to break down. And then when you join the program, that you'll have a link to in the description of this video, it's going to have the full library. So, and it will be categorized, like expired listings, for sale by owners, that type of thing. So you can just chime in and then listen to calls. There'll be like a library. And then what we're going to do is we're going to run the transcripts through an AI and create a whole module that you'll have access to as well. And I can work with you one-on-one. If you have just hired like an assistant or a inside sales agent, or if you're starting an ISA department in your brokerage, or if you're a new lead generation listing agent and you work on a team and that's your role and you want some extra help, we can work out a one-on-one training. There is a link in the video notes as well as the channel notes. My name is Jeremy Marquez with J Marketing. This is We Call, You Close. Have a good day.